Hey everyone, today we're taking a look at the iPad 10th generation. Now here we have the pink, silver, blue, and yellow colors. So it comes in 4 colors this time. And of course we have the updated design and look to match the iPad mini and iPad Pro and iPad Air. So let's take a look at the colors as well as what new features we have and all the things that are missing in this particular version. But let's go ahead and just get started here with the pink color. So these really big pull tabs on this one right here. And we'll just kind of take out all the colors, and on the last one, I'll show you the cables and if it comes with a power brick and stuff. So let's open this up. And here we go. Screen out first. Let's see this color here. Okay. Yeah, it's very bright pink, almost a coral color here. You can see it there first look right there. Aluminum, of course, and it's all that color. You can see it's pretty shiny, pretty bright. It's not a light pink, it's definitely a darker hot pink type of color with the aluminum. Maybe like that color right there. Not necessarily that color right there that shines the light, but yeah, definitely pink for sure and would be noticeable. Now here, let's go ahead and move on to the silver. And I actually really like this wallpaper right here that it shows here on the front, but let's open this one as well. Silver is probably, of course, just gonna be the straight up best to choose if you don't wanna just settle on a color. It'll also match all of the other smart covers, which we have right here, the Smart Folio colors. I bought all the colors to see how these look in that. So let's see, oh, dang it. Let's see here. And yeah, that looks really clean. Now 2 of these models here are the 5G models, so that these are cellular devices, and you can see here if I grab this one, the difference right there on the antenna bands that you'll get on the ones that can connect to a cellular plan. So you'll have those antennas at the top and also at the bottom right there, and kind of going towards the side right there as well. I actually like the look of the antenna too. But yeah, I really like the silver color actually a lot. I definitely am not that big of a fan of the pink one. Definitely like this silver a lot though. Now let's go ahead here and move on to the blue color. So let's turn it over, and again, the pull tabs right here. And let's see what they did here with the blue color. Of course, the wallpaper here is a little bit blue as well to match the colors. And here, definitely a light blue. Oh, whoa. Interesting. It almost has like, I actually really like this color. It's definitely not a light blue. It's interesting. It also kind of has like a maybe purplish tone to it a little bit. And when it catches the light that you see there, that's not very realistic. It's more like when it's like that it looks like the color that it actually is, but it's actually a really nice color. I really like that. Look at that. It definitely catches and reflects the light in a very nice way. I do like this one a lot. I still prefer the silver for sure, but if you like blue and you want your iPad to have some bit of color, this one definitely looks very nice. Let's move on here to the last one, which is the yellow, and then we'll see also what else we got in the box. Maybe we have some colored stickers, which they never do, and I doubt they'll do for this one here, but let's see here. And the yellow. Interesting. It's definitely not my style of yellow. It's almost like a goldish kind of tint, which I know some folks like. Of course, this one also has the antenna bands right there. You can see it right there as I turn it and hit it with the light. Yeah, it's a yellow, but it's definitely a more dull and goldish yellow, not a bright and energetic yellow. And here from the front, we'll check out all of them together in 1 second. That way you can get a better view of the colors. But here, let's see, what is this? What is this? Okay, let's see what else is in the box right here. We have a USB-C to USB-C right there. It is braided, and of course the new iPad is now USB-C. Before it was still Lightning, so it finally got updated to USB-C to match everything else in the iPad line. And this cable is super nice. I love the braided cables from Apple. Really great thing here. And we do also have a charging block, which is also nice. And this, of course, you can use to also fast charge an iPhone or something like that. So that's cool that we at least still get that in the box. Then in here, let's see, Doubt there's anything crazy in here. Just a get started manual and a SIM eject tool since this is the cellular model. And then, yep, one Apple sticker, two Apple stickers that are just plain white color. And that's all you get in the box. Now the box is actually quite thick given what you get inside, which I find a little bit odd given Apple's trying to conserve and everything. It seems kind of wasteful. It's pretty big. But here, of course, let's get to the main event, the silver and the pink, and then the blue and the yellow right there. So these are all the colors of the new iPad. What do you think right there? Let's grab this, kind of weighs a bit. Let's put them right there and you can kind of see the colors right there. They definitely look like candy colors. It's nice. It reminds me of the iPhone 5C colors. And here a little bit closer right there so you can see them, how they reflect the light. This is kind of how they look in real life right there. They're a little bit duller. And of course, when you shine the light on them, they get that little bit of reflection, which makes every color kind of look a little bit nicer in my opinion when it reflects the light. Now we do have only one camera right here on the back, and you can see the two models here that are 5G have the antennas at the top. I actually like the look of the antennas on there more than without them. I feel like it matches really nicely up there. And then let's see if we can kind of turn it here toward the bottom. You can see the USB-C right there, and the speakers right there, two at the bottom. And then at the top, we have two as well. So that's really nice. The speakers on this are probably really good. And here they are all from the front, which I tend to find it very important to see if you like the color from the front too peeking out. Let me grab that again, turn it here so there's no reflection. Maybe right there. You can see that. I actually really like the blue from the front and also the silver. Third pink, fourth is yellow. Yellow, really not my type of thing. It's basically gold and it makes it look a little bit cheaper than it should be, but you can see them right there. Let's go ahead and boot them all up just to see them with the screen on. All right, so there you can see them with the screen on right there, how the colors look again, and I have some of them, they're probably gonna start turning off now. But there you can see, and they all have a little connector here on the left-hand side. That's gonna be for the keyboard accessory that Apple made, which unfortunately didn't show up in time for this video, but hopefully we'll take a look at that soon. So let's go ahead and actually go through the setup process here and set one of these up and take a look at it. So first impressions here, definitely lightweight. It's not heavy at all. It feels nice and light. iPad mini comparison here, just real quick. Still significantly like more bulky and heavy than the iPad mini. The iPad mini is like incredibly small, thin, and light. This one actually feels like it's more robust inside, if that makes sense. And then this one feels a little bit more hollow inside, more tinkery and less kind of solidly built than the iPad mini. The iPad mini almost feels like an iPad Pro mini, while this one right here just feels a little bit cheaper overall when you're holding it, but it's nice that it's nice and light. Let's continue here on privacy. Now we do have Touch ID right here, which is good. I mean, it works really, really well. I personally think it should have had Face ID at this point, and all of them should just have Face ID and Touch ID at this point. They should both be on there, just kind of, it's nice to have both. It's nice to have a choice depending on what you prefer to do, but you can see that it sets it up relatively quickly. And I don't really have any issues going between an iPad Pro and my iPad mini, which the iPad mini has Touch ID as well. It works really, really well, but I definitely do find myself sometimes on the iPad Pro wishing it had Touch ID, and on the iPad mini wishing it had Face ID. So it's really about time that we honestly have both of them, especially on the higher end models at those prices. Both of them should just be on there by default. Now, don't transfer apps and data. I don't have an Apple ID. Set up later in settings. Don't use. Agree to terms without reading them. Continue. Location services. Sure. Continue. Choose for me, I guess. Okay.
Hi, I'm Siri.
That's fine. And no. Okay, don't share. Cool. And welcome to iPad. There we go. So we're in relatively quickly. First impressions on the screen. Looks really good, actually. Looks really nice. There is definitely quite a bit of glare on first impressions. I'm guessing that probably has to do with the fact that that screen is further out than even on the iPad mini that I have here. Let me go ahead and raise the brightness. So it feels like that screen, the actual digitizer on there is further out than the one on the iPad mini and the iPad Pro. And that probably also has to do with the fact that we don't have the support for the Apple Pencil 2. We only have support for the original Apple Pencil, which is super, super weird and actually frustrating to some degree, because you're gonna end up buying the first gen Apple Pencil, but the second gen Apple Pencil can be found for the same price, if not even cheaper sometimes, and it's significantly better than the first gen. So that's a little bit frustrating. If you don't need the Apple Pencil and stuff, and of course you're just gonna use this tablet for media consumption and the things that tablets were originally meant to be used for, then that's perfectly fine. This is something that's gonna work really well for you. But then the case comes, well, why not just buy the iPad 9th gen for like $300 as opposed to spending $450 for this one right here? And that's definitely something for you to consider, whether you like this new design a lot more. This one, I believe, has an A14 chip inside of it. Correct me if I'm wrong. But regardless, it doesn't have an M1 or M2 chip like the other iPads. So video editing on this and exporting large files, playing around with large PDFs is definitely not going to be as easy or enjoyable as on the iPad Pros and even the iPad Air. It definitely confuses things a bit, because technically the iPad mini is the iPad mini, and this is right here, the iPad, yet we have less features on the iPad than the iPad mini. And I find that extremely ridiculous, especially the fact that we only get 64 gigs to start, which again, Apple continues to only give us 64 gigabytes on this, and it is so silly. You can't do anything with 64 gigabytes nowadays. That's just gonna get filled up instantly the moment you get your tablet and begin to download apps and games, etc. That's not even including the fact that if you go on a flight, you're gonna wanna download some shows and stuff, and that's just gonna fill it up even more. So as far as the price goes on this, $450, like, it's not the worst thing. It's definitely gonna be a great tablet, and it's gonna work really well for you if you don't want to draw and do anything too crazy or anything that replaces a laptop. So here we have the iPad mini, iPad, and iPad Pro 11-inch. And you can kind of see the differences there. One camera on the iPad and iPad mini, two on the iPad Pro right there. Now this is the iPad Pro from last year, but you can see it right there. Now, of course, if you're buying this for media consumption and stuff, the actual screen size is going to come in handy compared to something like the iPad mini. Now the iPad mini is still $50 more than this iPad right here, which kind of sucks, because at this point we should have gotten a price reduction on the iPad mini, and then the iPad should have come in at maybe the iPad mini price, or maybe $50 more, but still had the Apple Pencil 2 support and all that. I mean, if they were going to raise prices, it should have been for a good reason. And you can kind of see the size difference there on the iPad mini and the iPad. It's significant. The iPad mini is very, very small. It's almost getting to the size of a Max phone. So that's something to keep in mind if you're considering either of these two. But of course, I love my iPad mini because it just kind of complements my normal iPad Pro really well. It's kind of just like a sketch pad, and then the other one's kind of like a notebook, if you imagine that. But, oh, here's actually a good way to also see the size, just putting them that way. But yeah, I think it's just crazy. Apple did not give us support here, so you can't use this tablet on the Magic Keyboard either. So if we were to put it right here, right there, it kind of just doesn't lock in at all. The magnets don't place correctly, even though it's almost basically the exact same size. You can see the lens right there going through, and it just doesn't work because it doesn't have the connector. Right back here where it says iPad, you can see there's 3 little dots right here. There's nothing there. So no support for the Magic Keyboard. They give us the new keyboard folio, which that can't be used on the iPad Pro. They've complicated everything to a point where I'm just like, it's ridiculous. But I mean, I understand from a consumer's point of view as a whole that a lot of people don't really care. They'll just do whatever they have to do to get the product that they buy to work as it should. So if they need the older Apple Pencil, they'll just buy it. But it really seems like Apple taking advantage of consumers and kind of ripping people off a little bit, and it's a little bit frustrating. And overall, look, despite the negativity, I think these are great iPads. Like for 450 bucks, it ultimately will do everything that you need it to do. It comes in fun colors. It's a nice large size, so you can watch movies and all that on the couch and on your way to work, or you know, on a plane or anything like that, without having to spend that much for the form factor of the iPad mini. Because of course, one of the reasons I got the iPad mini instead of the normal iPad is because this actually has the new modern design and USB-C. So that is also included in the new iPads, which is overall a nice little upgrade. Of course, the price bump sucks, but we also take into account inflation and the fact that Apple hasn't really raised prices in the US very much compared to the rest of the world, and that price increase does kind of make sense. So is this a bad buy? Ultimately, not really. If you care about upgrading every year and you're gonna upgrade next year, then of course it might matter, because if you get the Apple Pencil, you'll end up with the first gen that's also just becoming obsolete at this point. And that'll be something that you'll have to sell later for even less, because we're almost on the verge of an Apple Pencil 3 at this point. This is like, the first gen Apple Pencil is like 8 years old at this point. The second one is what, 4 years old at this point? But yeah, the iPad, it's gonna work perfectly well for the things that a tablet was originally designed to do. FaceTiming, checking email, browsing the web, playing some games, etc. If you've moved on from that and you now edit videos on the iPad, create content on the iPad, then I think you know who you are and you're not looking at this tablet in the first place. So if you're getting this as a gift or getting this for yourself, enjoy it. I think it'll be a fun little device to have. And aside from that, I'll catch y'all in the next video. Goodbye.